Have you ever ordered a sandwich and let's say Subway, and you say, "Hey, I just only want these toppings on there." And when you get there, I mean, when you're going through and they're putting on toppings, and then all of a sudden they start adding a whole bunch of stuff, would you tell them just to keep going, or would you say, "Hey, I didn't ask for all that. I asked for this. Why are you adding on more lettuce and more pickles? I didn't need all you. I mean, that's a lot. I just wanted these condiments." Have that ever happened to you? Well, that's sort of like what we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, that just simply means Ed. Today's episode is entitled, "What is gold plating in project management?" Again, what is gold plating in project management? I'm not talking about the gold that, around your neck or jewelry. No, I'm just playing. No, seriously, family. This is an interesting topic, and the reason why I chose this topic today is because of the fact that a lot of times we think we want to offer more than what is being asked. Okay, I'll let you think on that. I have a 7 point framework, family. After these 7 points, you know what I do. I say, I'm out. So let's jump into these 7 points. First point, project scope. Listen, gold plating often occurs when project teams deviate from the defined project scope. Let me say that again. Gold plating often occurs when project teams deviate from the defined project scope and they start introducing their own elements that were not a part of the original plan. Just like that Subway sandwich I was saying, when they started adding extra pickles and lettuce, I was like, I didn't want that. I said light lettuce, like, so that's the same thing, family. So look at it from that way. When you look at gold plating, it's the basis of it is basically adding more that may not even add value overall. Let's move on to point number two, requirement management. This basically means is the practice of directly related to the requirements of management, where basically where any changes addition to the project features should go through a formal change control process. Now listen, I've watched people make changes on the fly, and I was like, "Did you document that?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know what I just did." Huh? Oh boy, we're in trouble. So that's why it's important, family, is that if you are going to have to make changes as far as upgrading or downgrading or adding additional this or taking away this, make sure you go through a proven change control process. And that looks like having the ability to document, and then there should be a change control board in which you have to present these changes and they have to sign off on it. And normally a good change control board what we call CAB, will have various teams throughout the organizations that can comment in and say, "Hey, I don't agree with that change because it'll affect us over here." That's an excellent change control board. So if you have one of those at your organization, you're in luck. Let's move on to point number three, stakeholder expectation. Listen, gold plating can sometimes stem from a desire to exceed stakeholder expectations, but it should be handled with caution. You know why? Because it can also lead to what can affect the overall product for the customers. So with gold plating, you may think that, oh, well, man, I'm setting this customer up for success, where the customer may not want that. Sometimes we get caught up in this whole shiny object syndrome. Do you know what I mean by the shiny object syndrome? Like, oh, this new tool, this new feature will be just amazing just to add on here, but it has no value to what the customer is trying to do. It has no value to the organization. It actually has no value really to the project team. So they've wasted their time and energy building on these additional features and expanding the scope, only to find out that the customer didn't even want that, nor did it align with the company's vision and goal for this particular project. Let's move on to point number four, scope control. What is scope control? Scope control really emphasizes the importance of keeping the main, I'll say this. My mom used to say, keep the main thing the main thing. I was like, what is the main? Well, what does that mean? Well, she was saying that if I unpack that for you, she was saying, hey, the main thing is if you're saying you're going to be at a certain place, be there. If you're not, then don't be there. Don't make that commitment. So what she was saying is commitment over interest. A lot of times when we are working on a project, we get interested as far as interested in making the customer adding additional things on there instead of sticking to the commitment of what we agreed with the customer, say, hey customer, this is what we plan to deliver. And so with scope control, being able to have scope control, you set boundaries, and by setting boundaries, you avoid scope changes that are done improperly, that are not done based on a great change control process. Point number 5, my favorite, one of my favorites, is change control. Listen, gold plating really seriously happens in due to the fact of poor change requests, and they're not evaluated properly. And when they're not evaluated properly through the change control board, what ends up happening is you get gold plating. And so that really affects the overall project. It really, if I'm gonna be honest with you, it's just you and I talking, it affects the project integrity. I mean, because a customer may not want to do business with you again because they'll say, I didn't ask for all that. And then you added all that. So you mean I could have got whatever that particular end product was sooner. And you made the decision to add on additional features with, now I don't even know how to use these new features. So family, be cautious, be careful when you're actually working on a project and all of a sudden one of the stakeholders want to add all these new things and these shiny objects, and that's not what the scope is called for. Point number 6, impact to project timelines. Like I kind of stated a little bit earlier, family, adding unnecessary features really can extend the project timeline and potentially delaying the project. I remember I was on a project, leading a project, and the stakeholders wanted to add all these additional features. I was like, no, we can't add all these additional features because we're going to impact the timeline. We made it per the contract. We had a contractual agreement that we were going to deliver on X amount of date. If you add on these features, which you believe the customer really wanted, what's going to end up happening is they may not want to do business with them. I don't know how many times that, I've done business in my personal life, and someone wanted to add on additional things thinking I wanted it. Well, no, I don't want that, because now I got to learn this other stuff. I need to start at step 1 before I can get to step 10. And sometimes we want to get the customer from step 1 all the way to step 10, and we skip the whole process. I shared a story with you before, family. If you missed it, here, let me download it for you. I said, I'm 6'5", right? And so I used to always, instead of, walking up the stairs like a normal person should do, sometimes I get a little crazy, deranged, and, I think I'm a daredevil. So I'll run and I'll skip 3 or 4 steps and, jump on that step. Well, one day I was doing my normal routine, just running and jumping up to like the 3rd or 4th stairs, and I missed it. Bam! Bust my head. I'm glad I ain't busted to the white meat, but I'm just saying it wasn't pretty, it wasn't nice, and that pain, shout out to Tylenol PM, because it helped with that headache that I had. But I digress. Though seriously though, family, what I'm trying to say is that really when you get to a point where you are adding features, you are really impacting the overall project completion. Point number 7, cost implications. Listen, when you add additional features, you're adding more cost. And a lot of people forget that. See, sometimes you think cost is monetary. No, it's a cost with your time as well. It's a cost of having additional resources added. It's a cost of being able, to be able to bring in additional resources. Cost, don't look at cost as just monetary, because if you do, you'll get caught up in thinking, well, hey, this is not costing the customer anything, but it's costing the organization. It's costing you individually something. So family, before you even think about gold plating, which is basically adding more, benefits and features, think about what is it going to cost you personally and what is it going to cost the organization. I'm over delivering, family. So I got one more for you. Quality versus gold plating. What does that mean? What does that mean? It is definitely crucial to differentiate yourself as far as understanding gold plating and improving project quality. Now, quality improvements are intentional and align with project objectives. And if you have to make any quality improvements, what are you going to do? I'll wait for it. Okay, basically you're going to go through the change control board and you're going to document because we know what documentation is always going to be what conversation. My last and final point, family, I couldn't help it. I had to over deliver. Client satisfaction, excuse me. Client satisfaction. While it may seem like an effort to please the client, gold plating can sometimes lead to dissatisfaction due to the increased costs and delays. I don't know about you, but if somebody told me that, hey, I'm going to have this particular item to you at this certain time, my expectation is I'm going to get that particular item. Now, if something comes up that you're unable to deliver that, and if you come to me and say, well, the reason why we didn't deliver it because we thought you might wanted some extra benefits and features, I'm going to be frustrated because that's not what we agreed on. That's not what was in the contract. That was not what, when we sat down and built our, collected our requirements, that's not what we talked about. So family, be cautious, be careful. Don't add any more that needs to be done except for what is in the scope. Until next time, I'm out.